Story 1. Aita for divorcing my wife over cheating long before our 20-year marriage. My wife, 44, and I, 43, have been married 20 years. We started dating in high school when I was a junior and she was a senior. We were long distance for our first 2 years of college while I was in high school and did 1 year at community college, then we went to college in the same city for a year, and have lived together since. We got married the summer after I graduated college. Our marriage has been pretty great so far, but I initiated a divorce after I discovered that she was sleeping with multiple other men for the 2 years we were long distance. Just after Christmas, we got together with a few friends of hers from college to catch up, have dinner, and hang out. We talked about a lot of stuff and my wife mentioned that we met in high school, not that we dated, just that we met. Her old college roommate commented that it was crazy that we met in high school, had a few wild years in college, then ended up together. I played along and commented that I didn't know if my wife was as crazy as I was. The roommate started to tell a story, but my wife cut her off and said she was uncomfortable about it. I sensed something was up, so I said that we actually started dating in high school and were together for my wife's entire time at college. All of my wife's friends got real quiet and the rest of the dinner was awkward. On the way out, one of her other roommates took me aside and said I should have an honest conversation about what happened at college. I asked my wife on the way home and she kind of blew me off. I told her it was important that she was honest with me and again she said it wasn't important. When we got home, I told her I was going to stay at my brother's house until she was ready to talk about what happened in college. The next day she came over and admitted to sleeping with several men during her first 2 years at college. She said she didn't consider it a big deal at the time because we were long distance and she didn't think a high school romance would last. I pressed for more details and she said it was at least 10 different men including at least 3 guys she introduced to me as friends when I came to visit on weekends and 1 guy she was still in contact with. I told her that I wanted a divorce and would be starting the paperwork as soon as I could, which I did on January 2nd. Her family and most of my family is telling me I shouldn't throw away my marriage over a few mistakes. I've stood by my belief that cheating on me with multiple men for years is unacceptable no matter when it happened and the fact that she continued to maintain relationships with these guys right in front of me was an unacceptable amount of disrespect. We have 2 children, but they are 17 and 19 and I believe they will understand why I need to end the marriage. Am I wrong for leaving? I feel like I'm going crazy with the amount of people telling me to overlook years of infidelity and decades of lies. Edit. Holy shit, I'm glad I did this with a throwaway because the response here is unexpected. I obviously can't answer every question/comment, but I wanted to provide some detail for common questions. The reason I posted this is that my wife and a few friends have been saying it's common to sleep with other folks when you're in a long-distance relationship and that I'm kind of the odd one out for not sleeping around. I felt like I was being gaslit, but I wanted an outside perspective. We live in a state with a waiting period to finalize a divorce, so I felt it was a reasonable idea to get some insight before things are finalized. After these comments, I see a handful of folks saying it's normal to sleep around during a long-distance relationship, but it seems to be a significant minority. We saw each other a couple of weekends a month during the 2-year college period. I lived about 3 hours away from her college, so it was a long distance but not like cross-country. This was not a situation where we went months without seeing each other. The 3 guys I met while she was in college were meetups that happened during parties. The subject of me being a boyfriend didn't really come up, so I honestly don't know if these guys knew anything. The 1 guy we're still in contact with married a mutual friend from college. This is not some guy she secretly messages on the side, it's somebody we've talked to regularly for years. I've talked to him a few times since I've learned about my wife. He said he didn't know we were dating at the time and has since blocked my wife on social media. Some folks have asked how the roommates didn't realize at our wedding that the timelines didn't work out. The main reason is that my wife and I had a very small ceremony with just close family in Texas, then went back to the East Coast to have a big party with friends. The typical reception/sharing details about how we met stuff didn't really happen, so her roommates didn't realize we started dating before college. It sounds like they thought we only dated for the year we were both in the same city, then moved in together. I was open to therapy or some kind of attempt to save the marriage, but her insistence that this whole thing is common and I'm the one who's out of line is just too much for me. The only time she showed any remorse or even offered to reconcile is when I started filing paperwork. In the last week she's gone back to saying she's right and I'm overreacting. This is also why I feel like I'm being gaslit. It seems obvious that this is a major issue, but I've got my wife and others telling me it's normal and I'm overreacting. I'm not getting a paternity test unless my kids want to get one. I don't have any doubts that they are biologically mine, and no test will make them not my kids. I love them more than anything in the world, and my wife's infidelity won't change that, even if one or both of them is not biologically mine. They've been my kids for 19 years and they will be my kids until I stop breathing. Final edit. Hey all, I've been reading a bunch of the responses, but things are getting crazy and increasingly unhinged, so I probably won't be checking in more. Here are a few more answers to common questions I've seen. We were definitely exclusively dating at the time. First, dating culture was a lot different 20-ish years ago and exclusive was kind of the default for most people. Second, we had a long and difficult discussion before she left for college about continuing the relationship long distance. She specifically wanted to stay together and even joked about her dad coming after me if I started sleeping around with girls at my school. Finally, at my senior prom, she was not able to attend and was very upset when I proposed going with a platonic female friend of mine. As a result, I ended up skipping my prom and hanging out with her instead. While we never said the word exclusive, I think the above reasons, combined with the general relationship before she left, are enough to assume exclusivity. Based on some comments here, I followed up with the friend that said I should have an honest conversation. She told me that 10 guys would be on the low end, and that her biggest concern was that there was apparently at least one pregnancy scare that I didn't know about. I honestly don't think that really changes much. It's less about the number for me and more about the fact that she seems incapable of recognizing why this was wrong or why I feel betrayed. Thank you all for the helpful responses, even those that disagree with me. I will still be open to therapy if she's willing, but I honestly feel like it would be more about us being successful co-parents and finding closure than saving our marriage. Update. I wanted to provide some updates here as my original post got a lot of traction. Some recap. My wife and I are seeing a couples counselor and have been to 3 sessions now. Based on what my original post outlined, and what we talked about in counseling, I'm still moving forward with the divorce. I believe that counseling was the right move, and I appreciate folks for recommending it. I don't think it's going to save our marriage, but it has helped me communicate my feelings, helped my wife understand where I'm coming from, and most importantly helped us be in a position to work together as co-parents. First, let's talk about the things I learned about the situation in college. After talking to my wife in sessions and texting with 2 of her roommates, it's clear that her roommates knew something was up in college. They said they thought the situation was weird and likely involved cheating. My wife had told them that we both had some wild times in college and worked it out before we got married, so they never really brought it up. The roommate who pulled me aside recently was uncomfortable with the fact that my wife clearly didn't talk it through with me, and wanted me to know. As far as being introduced to guys she slept with, apparently that was not intended. For one of the guys, he ended up dating and then marrying one of our mutual friends from college. This is the guy she was in contact with. In the other situations, she initially blamed me in the counseling session, but has now agreed it was bad. When I went to visit her, she planned to hang out in the room or just hang out together alone, but I wanted to go to a few parties because in HS and community college, I didn't really have parties to go to. She didn't expect me to meet the guys, but they were at the parties and she felt she didn't really have a choice. I still think this is kind of shitty, but it's not as bad as her intentionally parading me in front of the guys. Most of our discussion in therapy has been talking about why I think it's a big deal and she doesn't. She initially said that none of these guys were in relationships with her and it was mostly one-night stands or FWB. Since she didn't view them as romantic relationships, she didn't see the big deal, her words not mine. My opinion is that we never said that was okay and she actively prevented me from doing the same. After digging into this across 2 sessions, and my wife talking to some friends, she now agrees that it was a breach of our trust/relationship. This is the shared understanding that has helped us talk about this situation more honestly and helped us get from arguing to talking, which is why I'm optimistic about co-parenting. Now, here's why I'm 100% set on divorce. 2 things came up that made me want to leave the marriage. First, about 10 years ago we went through a really rough patch and had a dead bedroom for about 2 years. She had expressed that our sex life was becoming boring, so I tried to spice things up, nothing crazy, just roleplay and like Spencer's gift-level sex toys. Apparently, she had been hung up some sexual experiences that happened in college, that she is not comfortable talking about, and wanted me to try them, but when I did it made her feel awkward and guilty that it made her think of other men while she was with me. The fact that she's saying these experiences were meaningless, but they're still impacting our marriage tells me they meant more than she wants to say. Second, she admitted that she has been flirting with coworkers on business trips since the pandemic ended. She says she has never slept with anybody, but it got as far as going on a date with one of her male coworkers. That was the absolute deal breaker for me. We have told our children that we're getting a divorce. We told them it was due to some bad decisions that we made in college that we're having trouble moving past. My 19-year-old, who is in college, asked me if I cheated on my wife while she was away at college. My wife got a little shaken up, but admitted to the kids that she's the one who cheated. We have agreed to not share any additional details with the kids. I reinforced that both us will be there for the kids and that we are in therapy to help make sure we handle this in the best way for the family. I also told the kids that if they wanted to talk to either of us or a therapist about it, that I would fully support it. We started talking to a mediator about how to proceed with the divorce, and unless things change, we should be able to have an amicable divorce. We're both financially stable on our own, we have no major debts, and our kids are older, so custody isn't a major issue. This has been a shitty couple of months for me, but I'm doing okay now and I honestly am grateful that my last post blew up because it both validated some of my feelings, but also motivated me to go to counseling with my wife. Edit. A couple of things to add in response to comments. I know she probably cheated more than she has admitted. Once our dead bedroom situation from years ago and a date with a coworker came up, I accepted that this has probably been going on at some level for our whole marriage. I'm not glossing over that because I'm an idiot who believes she's telling the whole truth. I have enough truth to know this is the right decision and that it was more than just college. Adding more detail won't change anything. In this post, the last post, and in a lot of messages, people keep asking if a hall pass would help fix things. It won't. I don't believe that more cheating will solve the trust issues. That may have worked for other people, but I really don't think that's going to help us. My STBX and our counselor know about the Reddit posts. I was upfront with both of them about it. I've kept this anonymous enough that I doubt anybody would guess who I really am, and this has helped me process things. In all honesty, seeing both sides of the issue has helped me, and reading the comments on the last post helped my wife better understand some of the frustration and hurt I feel. I don't necessarily believe sharing all these details on Reddit is the healthiest way to handle a situation, but I don't have many close friends I can share with, weren't also mutual friends with my wife, so this is kind of a way to talk through it. Story 2. Am I wrong? My wife keeps accusing me of cheating. I have been married for 2 years and with her for 5. She has 2 boys and I have a daughter. Ages between 11 to 17 at this point. My wife keeps accusing me of cheating. She found a bottle of wine in the fridge and thought I drank it with another woman because it was white wine. I rarely drink wine because of my gout, but showed her 3 other bottles in the garage I hadn't recycled yet from the last 2 months. She was adamant that I drank it with a woman on Saturday. However, Saturday I was with a friend and we split the fireplace wood all day, so I thought buying some steak and wine would be a treat for us all, her and her boys included. She found the bottle 3 days later as we were making a grocery list. I said if I was hiding it I would have not left it in the fridge. And that shelf is the only shed it fits on. I even showed her the receipt when I bought it and the steak with my friend. She is still pushing and demanding to have access to all security cameras. I said the cameras are for security, not insecurity. All this time she has access to one indoor camera that points at the door, so obviously she could see me and my buddy enter holding a steak and wine bottle. I don't know what to do. Am I wrong for blocking her from all my cameras because she is obsessing over the video? I slept on the couch a few days later and turned one off. She talked to me in the morning about why the camera is not working, so obviously she checks it daily. I only check the cameras if the kids are home alone or we are on vacation. Am I wrong to push back hard on camera access and maybe divorce? How dare she accuse me when I take care of her 2 kids 90% of the time? I'm never home alone. Edit. Thank you everyone for the comments and support. This is helping me to think of all angles. I have added so much more to the story, but in response to comments. Wishing I would have collected my thoughts better in the original post, but truly appreciate every comment and angle. Edit 2. I suck at Reddit or messages. So much was left out from my main message, only drawn into the comments. Thank you again everyone for feedback. Edit 3. Additional information. I have gone to marital counseling for 2 years and she stopped after the 3rd counselor she selected due to the side they took, and they were all primarily Spanish speakers. Recently I went to church for 2 months on the weekends for marital help, again her choice at her church. I am agnostic. She never asked for camera access. I put additional ones up. I never said she couldn't have access, she never asked. Those who don't ask do not receive. Why comment on not giving access was me pushing back because the only time she asked was minutes after accusing me of cheating after finding a wine bottle in the fridge that I shared at dinner with my friend, her, while we had a family dinner with our kids. I didn't drink the wine at dinner, but while I smoked 10 pounds of chuck roast for 5 hours prior to dinner after splitting firewood all day. She has an apartment with full camera systems I don't have access to nor care to have. She gave me access. I deleted it. I'm not micromanaging. I have a key. I don't care to spy. She keeps it to have a place for the youngest to bus home from a different school district. She goes there every 3 months to clean prior to inspections. I will give her camera access now, she asked, but my issue is how she asked, paired with accusations of me cheating. As many of you said, pairing white wine with steak is of concern. I have been going to private counseling for PTSD, codependency, and issues being kidnapped as a child. So I'm not the perfect brother. A large amount of comments have accused me of being a control freak. I will look at that opinion and discuss it with my therapist. All commentary has been welcome and taken to heart. I am absolutely shocked at everyone's hate for white wine and steak pairing. And yeah, I'm lying to my doctor about eating red meat because of my gout. I love my wife and hope I can recover this relationship and get help to bother her and I. How do I close this post? I have enough comments to digest. Some please DM me. Story 3, am I wrong for thinking my girlfriend cheated on me after a shady action on a night out? So I, male, 20, have been with my girlfriend, 19, for 2 years. Saturday night she went out to a bar with her friends. Her friends started texting me asking if she had got me to pick her up as they couldn't find her and she wasn't answering her phone. She has done this before when she can't be bothered to stay out and her friends try and force her to. After about half an hour they told me they found her. I asked where she had gone and they didn't respond. It was around 10 p.m. when they found her again. The same thing happened at 11:30, her friends saying they hadn't seen her for 20 minutes and asking if she had again contacted me. I again said no. At 12:30 I asked if they had found her, again, no response. I get worried so I drive to the bar, and I walk in. I see my girlfriend's friends but not her. They all look shocked to see me, and one of them was like, "I'll go get her, just wait here," and runs off. She comes back a minute later with my girlfriend. She's drunk, but not really that drunk, to where she should be disappearing. I stay with them and start drinking with them. At around 1:30 she again goes missing. None of us can find her. I go outside to the smoking area and she is in the very far corner, tucked away, sat on some guy's lap. I go over and ask what the fuck she's doing, and she jumps up off him and says she was just smoking. I ask why she was sat on his lap, and she says, "The seats are really cold on my legs, she's in a dress." The guy laughs, stands up, and says to me, "Good luck," and pats my shoulder and walks off. I ask who he was and she says, an old friend of hers, which I think is weird as I've known her since we were 10, went to school with her, and never seen him. She says she's sorry for how it looked and gives me a hug. We go back inside to her friends, and the guy is stood there with 2 other guys, and his friends see us and laugh. My GF gives them daggers. A little later I go to the toilet and the guy is in there. I go over to him and before I can speak he just says, "Please keep me out of your relationship drama." I ask what he means and he says, "Bro, whatever you're about to say, I don't give a fuck. Keep me out of it," and just walks off. He's being rude as fuck but the guy is like a foot taller than me and looks like he could probably rip my head off if he wanted to, so I don't push it. Later on, I see a girl who we went to school with, who my GF hates. They used to be friends but had a big falling out just after school, as her friend is known for a compulsive liar. She comes over and gives me a hug and says hi. After we talk for a few minutes she asks when me and my GF broke up. I say we didn't. She says, "Well, she's been kissing some guy's face off half the night, so you might want to talk to her about that." After I hear that I go confront my GF. She denies it and says the girl is just shit stirring because they hate each other, which is the sort of thing this girl would do. She is a known shit stirrer, and has been since school, and lost most her friends for telling lies and spreading rumors about them. I say to my GF I want to leave and she says that's fine and leaves with me. We get a taxi back. I ask her about the guy and how she knows him, and she says, he lives round here. Which isn't really an answer. Then she goes straight back to apologizing for sitting on his lap and how that looked. I say I don't want to talk about it as honestly I'm starting to feel sick. We get into bed, and go to sleep. I wake up first and go to check my phone. It is dead where I forgot to charge it. I grab her phone to check the time and see a notification from Snapchat. It says, your new contact ___ is on Snapchat. And I can see by the Bitmoji it is clearly the guy from the bar. He was mixed race, and so was the Bitmoji, and there aren't a lot of POC where we live, it like 90% white. I wake up my GF and ask her why it says he is a new contact if he is an old friend. She says it is because he has a new phone, convenient. She then loses it at me for going through her phone. I don't even know her passcode, I was just checking the time. She says she's apologized for sitting on his lap so many times, but I was being ridiculous and insecure, and she was too hungover to deal with me, and basically stormed out my house telling me not to text her until I grow up. That was Sunday. It is now Tuesday and we have barely spoken, other than her calling me ridiculous and insecure. Her friends have now started getting involved saying it's stupid of me to think she would cheat on me since I was there. Am I wrong? Story 4. Am I wrong for breaking up with my girlfriend even though she didn't cheat? I, male, 56, was married for nearly 35 years. I married young. My wife was my best friend. She died 18 months ago. I reconnected with a female friend I used to work with, female, 49. She told me that her husband of 30 years constantly cheated on her and even had a child with AP. She felt she was trapped. I told her if she ever left him I would take her in. She's beautiful. Her kids are adults. A few months go by and she leaves him, she wants to be with me. Great. A day before she is to move in she, for some reason, tells me about a younger guy that has been pursuing her. Tells me if she didn't get with me she would have went out with him at least once, just for sex. I was confused as to why she would tell me that. She mentioned sleeping with him again a couple of hours later. I told her if she really wanted to do it, she was a grown woman and can make up her own mind. And if she was going to do it before she moved in. She asked me if I was okay with it. I told her that we are adults and can make up our own minds. I never told her I was okay with it. Well, she decided to spend the night with him the day before moving in with me. She will see me in the morning. She left and I started packing her stuff up. She came back an hour and a half later saying that he had a family situation and couldn't be with her that night. Sucks for her. She asked me what I was doing. I told her I was packing up a cheating horse things. She started crying and said that nothing happened yet and that I said it was okay. I told her I never said it was okay and all I said was she was an adult and can do what she likes. She has nowhere to go. I told her to call him up to pick her up but she can't stay here. I went into my house and locked the door. She tried telling me that if she would have known I felt this way she never would have done anything. I feel I shouldn't have to tell her to be faithful and instead of doing it behind my back wasn't as bad as doing it in my face. I told her from the beginning what I thought of cheaters. She kept saying she never cheated. But I think trying and doing is one and the same. This happened several days ago and she keeps blowing up my phone. I don't answer. I thought I had a good loyal girlfriend. Joke's on me. So am I the asshole? I never pushed her to leave her husband. I will always wonder if I did the right thing. Edit. We talked about it before. She asked me if I was okay with it. I told her no, I didn't like it. I never specifically said I would throw her out. Didn't think I had to. Then when she told me he was married with kids, that was when I just couldn't do it. She became everything she supposedly hates in a person. I loved her enough to probably get over a one-time thing because she was honest. As she was walking out the door is when I found out he was married with kids. I asked her on her way out if she was going to his house and she said that his wife and kids wouldn't like it. That sealed the deal. Besides, I got an STD check with her before, considering her husband's track record. I'm not willing to do it again. Quit saying I basically gave her permission. I did not. I let her know I didn't like it but would probably get over it. Until. Edit 2, before this happened, she asked me if I was okay with this. I told her no, I was not okay with this. We were exclusive, or at least that's what she told me. She also told me, days before, that if I ever cheated on her she would be gone. So many women on here are acting like I gave her permission. I did not. I also didn't forbid a grown woman from doing what she wanted. She did what she wanted. I did what I wanted. I guess she thought I loved her too much to dump her. I loved no one enough to put up with them fucking other men. Just because I didn't specifically say that she would be gone from my life. A one-night stand was worth losing me over. Or at least she thought it was. Life is a series of choices. She made hers and I made mine. We both made what we thought were the best choice for each of us. Her son is on his way to talk to me. He is married with 2 kids living in a 2-bedroom apartment. She is staying with him. I told him there is no way I will change my mind. I also told him not to bring her with him. I'll let you know how it goes. I don't know what he thinks will happen, but he's a good dude. Welcome here anytime. I don't care, all she does is cry. I did my fair share too. Update. I talked to her son and showed him this post. Damn, was he pissed. He cut off his dad for cheating on his mom and treating her like shit. Now he wants to cut her off. He said she was so excited about moving in with me. Couldn't believe she would even consider doing this to me, with a married man. I begged him not to. He said she can't stay with him. There are a couple of 1-bedroom apartments where he lives. The car she was driving the past few weeks is mine, even though I bought it for her. She has no job. I told him I would pay all the deposits in the first 3 months' rent for her. But after that she is on her own. I still love her and don't want anything bad to happen to her. I just don't want her anymore. He said she was crying for the last couple of days, saying she can't believe she was that dumb. That's all I have and don't expect anything to change. I'll drive over tomorrow and get her the apartment. Gonna be a shit show when her son gets home. She didn't exactly tell him the whole story. I wish her the best. Story 5, wife cheated after 8 years together. I, male, 33, and my soon-to-be ex-wife, 33, had been married for a little over 3 years and together for 10 years. There has always been moments in our relationship that I thought something was going on. She would always tell me it was nothing and that she would never do that to me, and we agreed that if either of us ever ended up cheating we would tell the other person. 2 years ago in April I get a call from one of my really good friends, and he was kind of nervous to tell me but ended up telling me that while he was at my house on his lunch break getting food, which I offered because she made chicken fettuccine that night and he struggled a bit financially. She told him that she had cheated on me about 2 months prior, which is basically at or around our anniversary. I was devastated and immediately started blowing her phone up, crushed by what I was told and asking her if it was true. She confirmed it and I broke down even harder. I love this woman with my every being and still somehow have feelings for her. I tried to get past it and work on our relationship for like 1.5 years, but I just couldn't let it go. She said it was stupid and that she should have never done it, but I was always at work and this person from school had randomly hit her up on Facebook and wanted to say hi, so she indulged because he made her feel good. One thing led to another, they kissed and then had sex. Fast forward to about 2 months ago, I decided that I couldn't get past this and that I had to try and end the relationship. So I told her that I didn't think it was possible for me to forgive in my heart what she did to our marriage and that it was over. I met someone who was also in a failing marriage and we talked a few weekends in a row about relationship stuff and I started kind of getting feelings for her. My still current wife caught wind of it somehow and started bugging me about how I was already dating someone else and throwing out all these other accusations, none of which were true. Would I love to have a chance with this new woman? The answer is yes. But she hasn't ended her relationship yet. So I just continue to go see her at work every weekend for a few hours to hang out and chat because I feel good when I'm with her. My wife hates that I do this and still swears that it's more than that when I have never done anything wrong in our relationship. I got a message from her last night saying that she was going to step out for the night after she got our youngest to sleep. Then I get a call from my kids shortly after saying that she got picked up by some guy and that they took her phone and told me what his name was and that she said he was just a friend and that she had known him for a long time. In 10 years I have never heard this name come up in any conversation, nor have I met them or even knew they existed. Am I wrong for being hurt that she was gone from 11 p.m. till 6 a.m. with this guy, or am I just being jealous because I can't have the person I have been talking to at this time but she gets whatever she wants because she's a female? Also, am I wrong for ending the relationship? Thanks for your input and I hope my story isn't too jumbled up. My mind has been a wreck ever since. I just feel pain all the time unless I'm drunk or with the other female hanging out. Any input is appreciated. My mind is fucked. Story 6. Am I wrong for exposing my boyfriend after I found out he cheated? So, this might be a wild one, but here goes. I, female, 26, have been dating my boyfriend Matt, 28, for 2 years. Everything was fine until a few weeks ago when I noticed he'd become super secretive with his phone. Before, he used to leave it out on the table, but recently he's been taking it everywhere, like even to the bathroom, which seemed odd. One night, while we were watching a movie, his phone lit up, and I saw a text from Kelly, a name I'd never heard him mention. It wasn't like a, "Hey, how's it going?" message, it was a heart emoji followed by, "Can't wait for tomorrow night." My stomach dropped, but I kept my cool and didn't confront him. Instead, I decided to investigate. I didn't have his phone password, but I remembered that Matt had synced his texts to his laptop, which he kept in his office. When he went to bed, I snuck in and opened the laptop. Sure enough, there was a whole conversation with Kelly. Turns out, they'd been going out for a couple of months, and she had no idea he had a girlfriend. He was stringing her along, telling her he was single and even planning a weekend getaway with her soon. I felt disgusted and hurt, but instead of confronting him immediately, I decided to take a different approach. Matt's birthday was coming up, and he'd invited a bunch of his friends to celebrate. They're all super tight, and I've become close to a few of them over the years. I couldn't believe Matt would do this to me, so I figured the best revenge would be exposing him to everyone. I didn't want to just air things out in the heat of the moment, so I waited until the party. After we'd all had a few drinks, I gathered everyone for a birthday toast. I pulled up my phone and projected it to the TV in his living room. Everyone thought I was about to share a cute photo montage or something. Nope. Instead, I started scrolling through the messages between Matt and Kelly, reading them out loud. The room went dead silent. Matt turned pale, then furious, but I kept going. I finished by saying, "And that's why this piece of trash isn't worth anyone's time, including mine. Happy birthday, Matt." His friends were in shock. Some of the girls immediately came over and hugged me, while the guys were stunned. Matt, on the other hand, stormed out, furious that I ruined his night. Now, here's the thing, I feel kinda guilty. Some of his friends have told me I was savage and should have confronted him privately, while others said he deserved it for cheating. But part of me wonders if I went too far. Update. Wow, I didn't expect this to blow up like it did. First off, thank you to everyone who commented, messaged, and offered support. I wanted to give you all an update on how things have been since that birthday toast incident. So, after Matt stormed out of the party, I left too, and stayed at a friend's place for the night. The next day, I was flooded with messages, some from Matt, most from his friends. A lot of people were supportive, but a few told me I was petty for airing everything out in front of everyone. Matt, predictably, was furious and claimed I humiliated him for no reason. He even tried to flip it on me, saying I invaded his privacy by reading his texts, which, sure, I did, but I mean, cheating's a little worse, don't you think? Anyway, I blocked him after a couple of his angry messages, and honestly, I felt a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. It wasn't just about exposing him, it was about reclaiming some of the power I felt like I'd lost during the time he was sneaking around. As for his friends, most of them have cut him off completely. One of the girls in our group even texted me saying she had a similar situation with an ex but never had the guts to confront him, let alone in front of everyone. This wasn't Matt's first time being shady, and a few of his friends had suspected he wasn't all that loyal in past relationships but never had proof. Looks like I just confirmed their suspicions in the most dramatic way possible. Kelly, the girl he was cheating with, I reached out to him and she told me she still loved him and told me to completely cut things off with him so they can be together. She said obviously I wasn't enough for him, which hurt, but they deserve each other. It's been hard, but I feel like I did the right thing. Sometimes you just have to burn bridges with people who don't deserve to be in your life, and Matt definitely falls into the category. Do I feel guilty? A little, but not enough to regret what I did. Cheating is never okay, and I wasn't going to let him get away with it. Plus, exposing him in front of his friends was probably the only way to really make it hit home for him that actions have consequences. So, in case anyone's wondering, no, I'm not getting back with Matt. I did get a STD check waiting for results for people that were worried. Thanks again to everyone who shared their thoughts and gave me the courage to keep my head held high through all of this. This week has been quite hard, original. Just a quick update. He has already ended things with her. He reached out to me earlier and expressed his regrets about the situation. He said that he's really sorry and wants to reconcile and get back together with me. It is disgusting. Story 7. Am I wrong for not thinking I cheated when my girlfriend thinks I did? For context, me and my girlfriend have been dating for 1.5 years and have argued with each other maybe about 3 times, so we generally get along very well. We also both got cheated on in our past relationship, so we made it very clear that we would be honest, open, and as transparent as we can while communicating, which we were very good at and never ran into an issue with. So what happened? We were in bed watching TikTok together on my phone. We probably scrolled past 100 videos before we got to a first trap of a girl. My GF got upset, and I thought she was joking at first until I realized that she was genuinely upset. I tried to talk to her and give her reassurance that it's just algorithm-based and probably showed up on my For You page, for an unknown reason. For those unfamiliar, just a feed of videos based on a user's interests, location, gender, etc. I genuinely do not view this type of content and just scroll past it when I come upon them. Then after some processing, she wanted to see my Instagram app, so I opened it up and showed her, because I had nothing to hide. She went to the Explore page and it was just loaded with pictures of half-dressed girls and maybe 1 or 2 of my other personal interests. This shocked both of us and she immediately started packing her things and wanted to leave. She claimed that I am emotionally cheating because she believes that those showed up because I am clicking on those types of photos/videos, checking the profiles out, and or liking them. I immediately explained to her that I have no idea why they would all be there. I don't even browse the Explore page on Instagram, nor do I even check the app that frequently. I spend about 20 minutes a day on Instagram just looking at my friends' stories/posts once or twice a day, and that's about it. I realized as I was trying to explain it to her, that she was taking everything I was saying as a load of BS, which is understandable. She said I emotionally cheated on her and now I have been ignored for the past 2 days and I am supposed to go to her house and talk to her tonight. I, on the other hand, do not think I emotionally cheated because I wasn't even looking at them in the first place, nor was I ever emotionally driven to look at that type of content. And even if I was looking at it, why would I be emotionally invested in a random Instagram influencer hundreds or thousands of miles away with hundreds of thousands of followers? So in summary, she thinks I emotionally cheated on her for having lewd content of other girls on my curated feeds on social media, whereas I honestly did not partake or look at that type of content, but everything I say to her to explain this is just taken in as a lie/excuse. Am I wrong here? Update. First of all, thank you for all the comments. It really helped provide me with outside perspective because I hate spilling personal relationship details/troubles with anyone I know. I mentioned a couple good points mentioned here, and here is how it went. Went and talked to her. She did admit that she may have blown it out of proportion. But she was still upset about it. She said that, to her, using the Explore page to look at girls was the same as being on a dating app and looking at girls. I immediately shut it down and called her out for being crazy for thinking that. She said that she knows it's not the same, but her mind keeps framing it like it is because I am giving those Instagram girls my attention, as if I am interested in them. Her stance on the matter didn't change much, but she did soften up after I explained that it really is not that deep. She is still upset, and I compromised with her by saying that I will be more diligent about clearing out my feeds from that type of content. We ended up resolving it for now, but it will take some time to completely resolve. What she doesn't know is that I am fully prepared to end everything and cut ties if she ever acts irrational and unreasonable about something like this. P.S. Also, for those who say she is projecting/lashing out because she is cheating, she isn't. I know this for a fact. She doesn't go out and hates talking to strangers, and does not have many friends, let alone any male friends. Story 8. Wife cheated. I developed a relationship and hooked up with the AP's wife. What should I do now? I'll try to condense this as much as possible. Okay, here it goes. Last November me, male, 30, and my wife, female, 29, got married. We had been together 10 years at that point and now 11. I started a new job that same month and my workload really increased. I was still running my previous business part-time while doing home repairs, car repairs, and working a lot of hours for my new job. We were making considerably more money. I bought her a second pair of new tits in February, $13,000 all cash, and we then planned our honeymoon for June, $10,000 all cash. It was an incredible 5 nights in Tahiti in an overwater bungalow. Fast forward 1 week later. She goes to her high school reunion and proceeds to attempt to hook up with one of her old classmates, She was drunk and got sick, so it supposedly didn't happen. They then proceed to continue talking and then slept with each other 2 weeks later. She took an entire day off of work to go hang out with the AP on job sites and whatnot. Then stopped at his house where the sex happened. I found out just a week later through the grapevine and was then put into contact with the wife of AP, F26. We proceed to talk semi-regularly, trying to find out what is going on. This goes on for months because my wife and AP contact does not stop. I mean a second phone, work phones, meeting at parks, etc., you name it. I was lied, gaslit. She faked reconciliation with me like 3 or 4 times while I was quite literally losing my mind trying to understand why she was doing this. Contact with AP stopped but continued trickle-truthing, then unblocked his number, and at that point I initiated a separation. After this, my wife is now starting to come around, writing me letters telling me how sorry she is and how bad she wants to make it up. She agrees that I can take a hall pass if I so choose. Also at this time the wife of AP files for divorce, then really comes onto me strong. This is where our talk shift from affair talk to personal topics. We talked for hours upon hours. She is a really great person. We are very alike and got to know her quite well on a deep emotional level. We hang out and we have sex a couple of times. It was pretty good. We are super compatible, but then I start to feel uncomfortable because I can tell I'm getting attached and I haven't let go of my wife yet. I then explain that we need to stop and I need to reconcile or divorce before anything more can happen. This is what I can't seem to make a decision on. Currently I've been separated from my wife for 3 months now. She's been going to therapy and has just recently made pretty dramatic changes and is doing a lot of things right to repair what's been done. She has taken a lot of responsibility, given reassurance, expressed all the things she wants to do differently and better for the marriage, and in being honest I believe it's genuine change. The problem is I've been pushed so fucking far and have now developed this relationship with this seemingly incredible person that I'm not sure I even want it anymore. My wife is my first girlfriend and sexual partner. I've been with her the whole time. We had a mind-blowing incredible sex life that I literally just can't let go of. This obviously has been damaged, but honestly feeling like the only thing we have left, the trust and forgiveness, seems like the biggest hurdle to cross for me. She brought a lot of good into my life and was honestly a pretty good partner up until this incident. Now I'm fighting the fact that she is in fact a homewrecker, knew the AP had a 6-month newborn, faked reconciliation while looking straight into my eyes, and went to great lengths to hide this from me while I was out working my fucking ass off to provide a dream trip, cars, tits, home repair/renovation, while my personal interests have been sidelined for years now. After all of this I still am struggling to make a definite decision to end this. I go from one extreme to the other multiple times a week. On one hand I've always wanted the better version of my wife. What if she's really is going to show up the way she should from here on out? On the other hand, fucking then dating the AP's wife does stroke my ego purely because I know and despise the AP. Regardless, I honestly do like her a lot for who she is, and she is very into me and has assured me it's for the right reasons as well. Talk some sense into me, guys, I need it. Roast, congratulate, I don't care. Story 9, did she cheat on me? I'm a 35-year-old male, ex-fiancé is 27, female. I used to work third shift, where I met my ex-fiancée who was a waitress. About 7 months after I initially met her, I asked her out and we hit it off. About 8 months go by, and we are walking around the local mall and she sees a jewelry store going out of business. We go in and she finds a bridal set she liked, so I bought them. I didn't give them to her until I proposed to her about 4 to 5 months later. Our wedding was supposed to be D-Day of this year. When COVID started, she got furloughed. I continued working. I made enough to cover both of our expenses, so I really wasn't too worried. I had $2,000 every month direct deposited into her account and I just let her take care of managing the joint bills, as well as her bills. After she got furloughed, she made zero attempt to find any kind of employment, even temporarily. I didn't push her very hard, to be fair, but I did ask her a couple of times about it. She refused to consider it, stating that nobody was hiring. Although I know for a fact a place right down the street was. So a month and a half goes by and she does nothing other than sit at home and play video games. Like never leaves the house to do anything, doesn't want to go with me to do anything, nothing. Out of the blue she starts wearing makeup at home, which I thought was odd considering she never left the house. Her hours change from roughly being aligned with mine, to being awake all night and asleep when I'm home. One day she decides she wants to go to Tennessee to go comfort a friend who was going through a divorce. Again, I thought this odd considering she never wanted to leave the house, let alone go do anything. I didn't say anything because at this point I just thought it was odd, and I didn't really suspect much. Throughout the trip she sends me random pictures of her and her female friend. This is also odd because she was never really in the habit of sending me pictures of herself, nor did she like taking them. There were a couple other little things I don't really remember, but after seeing all of these changes in behavior I asked her about it all. She responded that there was nothing to worry about, and that I was being paranoid. I pointed out that I had seen she had added a couple random dudes I didn't know to her Facebook account, and I asked if she was talking to any of them on Facebook, or texting, or whatever. She said she wasn't. I told her that was okay, I was sorry I brought it up. The next day she tells me she wants to postpone the wedding a year because it was unhealthy to start a marriage under suspicion or something like that. I wasn't happy because it sure didn't make me suspect her any less, but I relented. I think this was maybe back in late March/April. A month goes by, and I literally didn't say a word about the conversation. Her behavior had sort of gotten worse without getting into specifics, but I didn't make it obvious that I wasn't pleased with it. I just kind of let it go as much as I could. So I go to my sister's house out of state for a weekend, and the night before I'm supposed to come back I ask her if everything is okay. I asked her if she wants to back out of the engagement so we can kind of learn who we were and just enjoy each other's company. She stated we would talk about it the next day. This is where the shit gets really weird. So I get home and she isn't wearing her engagement ring. I asked her about it and she tells me that we are breaking up, and that it was my decision to do so. I'm laying on the couch kind of shocked and really confused by what had occurred. She immediately gets out wine and starts drinking it, puts on some music and wants to dance with me. She tells me that she plans on not moving out of the apartment that we both signed the lease on unless things got weird. She then makes comments about setting up a Tinder profile for me. I told her I really couldn't do any of that and I went back into the back room to play my own video games. I played games for about an hour before I realize I can't be in the house with her because I can hear her music going while she's dancing. So I pack an overnight bag and head to my mom's house. There is a driveway camera on the inside of my house that watches outside, but it has a microphone in it. I activated it and heard her talking to some dude on the internet about the breakup, telling him she is moving home that coming weekend. I sent her a couple text messages, and heard her talk about them to this dude. I couldn't really make out what he was saying because the camera microphone wasn't that good. I returned to the house, removed anything of mine that was valuable and told her I had heard part of the conversation. I brought up the fact that we had previously had a conversation about whether or not she was talking to any other dudes, and I pointed out that she had denied it. Her response: I didn't ask if she was Snapchatting somebody else, I only asked if she was texting or Facebook messaging. I was honestly shocked, and when that sentence left her mouth I immediately second-guessed anything she had ever told me. This is really the last time I had a conversation with her that I ever really believed anything she said. From this point on it's been utter bullshit. Polite utter bullshit, but bullshit. The last part of this happened back in early May I believe. I unfortunately have to see my ex once a month to get her half the rent money. I strongly suspect she was cheating on me, or at the very least planning to do so. I also kind of get the impression that she was trying to gaslight me about the whole thing on top of it. I guess at this point it doesn't really matter, but I wanted to have somebody else's opinion on the matter so maybe I can get some closure. What say you, Reddit? Was she cheating on me? If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give a like, share it with someone, and subscribe for more stories that inspire, provoke, and connect us. Thank you.